Kia ora and welcome to this quick video on the fundamentals of mountain biking. I'm Jamie from New Zealand Mountain Biking. I run a guiding and coaching business here in Rotorua, and today in this video we're going to go over a basic bike check to make sure everything's running smoothly before you hit the trails, the basics of body position so that you can feel the bike moving underneath you, and also where to look so that you can smooth out lines and feel some flow when you're out on the trails. And also a little bit of rider etiquette, because as riding in a big group you can get in the way a little bit, so I'm going to give you some tips on how to make sure that everyone's having a good time. Okay, first things first, we want to check that our bike is running and is safe to ride when we're out in the forest. The main reason that we want to do this is because generally at the trailhead we're near a car which has more tools than what I might have in my backpack, because if you do find something that's loose, like my wheel, luckily that doesn't need a tool, but I want to know about that before I actually go ride. So there's a really simple check, it's called an M check. Starts from the bottom, it comes up, it goes down, it comes up and goes back down, just like an M. So it should be pretty easy. Now we start with the front, start with the tyres, give your tyres a little bit of a press, make sure that your brake's working and give your tyre a bit of a spin, everything's good. And then steering, controls, nothing's loose, and if it is, you just get out a tool, give it a little tighten. Moving down, you want to spin your cranks, give everything a little wobble, make sure nothing is loose. If there's any funny noises, that's an indication that it's loose. If you've got a dropper, up and down. If you've got suspension, give it a little push, it shouldn't make any noise. And then we go back down to the back wheel, so it's the tyre pressure. You can even grab it, give it a little wiggle for both of them. It's kind of also what happens when you do the spin to make sure nothing's making a funny noise. It's that simple. Now I'm ready to go. First thing I want to share with you is trail scanning. Trail scanning is the skill of being able to see through your line. Now, because of the laws of physics, we can only see in a straight line. It's how light travels. And so we can only see until our furthest corner or until the trail starts to steepen up, so the crest of a trail. Now, first up, we're going to do a couple of things that aren't going to feel super awesome, and then we're going to merge them together to something that feels really, really good, and it's the thing that you should be practicing before anything else when you hit your first single track. The first thing that we're going to do, which I doubt will feel very good, and you can do this on a footpath, you don't need single trail, is we're going to ride along with our chin on our chest. This is a super experiential way to feel what it's like when we get nervous and we get focused on what the front wheel is doing. Give it a go, try do it for at least a couple of 100 meters, and then describe all of the things that you liked about it, if there was anything, and also the things that you really hated about it. Because when we get nervous, if this starts to happen, you're going to be feeling those things in the trails that are at your upper limit. So we want to try to make those ones easier. The next thing we're going to do is ride the trail with our chin really high. So instead of with our chin on our chest, just looking at the front tire, we're going to be looking as far up the trail to the furthest bit that's available to us. And what this is going to do, hopefully, is feel quite different. It's the polar opposite. And again, once you've done that for a couple 100 meters, talk to your buddies, see what you liked about it, what you didn't like about it, whether there were any benefits, pros and cons. Yeah, see what you think. And now here's the perfect way to trail scan, is we want to see those things that are way up in the distance, but we also want to bring our eyes down at those things that kind of make us nervous. So the bits that we want to get our timing and our precision right. So really it's more of a double check of where our front tire is, and we're putting more attention into where we're actually heading. Now, if the terrain makes me nervous or the speed I'm going makes me nervous, what's going to happen is my eyes are going to drop. So the easiest thing for me to change is either choose easier trails or slow down before the gnarly bit so that my confidence is at an all-time high. The higher my confidence, the easier it is to trail scan. So ideally, what we're going to do is mix those two together. So I'm not just looking into the distance. It's okay to glance down to where I want to be on the trail that's right in front of me, because it helps with my precision and my timing. So I know that my front wheel is about to go through the gap in the roots that I wanted to hit, or off the jump, or land where I want it to land. So this helps for not just smoothing out my first trail, but also when things get way more technical and there's a lot more speed involved, it's the perfect reminder that, hang on a second, the sooner I see things, the more relaxing everything is. Step. It's not quite steep enough. We've figured out how to trail scan and look for where we want to go, and now it's about body position so that we can do as little as possible on the bike but get the best results. When we're going downhill, we want to be standing up in the pedals. We want our seats down if we can, so if you have a quick release or a dropper post, put it down. If you need a tool, hopefully you have one of those handy. And then all we're going to do is use this gravel road to practice two stances. We're going to do a reset and we're going to do a central stance, which is where we're in the center of the bike and we can then let the bike move around us. So our goal here is to be as centered as possible, so standing over the bottom bracket, that's this bit here, and we want even weight through our feet, and we want nice relaxed arms so the front end of the bike can move around, steer, without it kind of pulling us around. So the key thing here is to keep your hands nice and relaxed. So when we did the trail scanning, we noticed when we're just looking at our front tire, we get quite tense, and so we grip way too hard. When we were looking further ahead and we could plan and our brain had more time to see and process what was in front of us, it was a lot easier to relax our arms and our shoulders and our hands. So the key points of a reset, I like to call it a reset because it's literally like taking a deep breath. I can make all that space and then relax again so that I know that I have very little weight through my hands, just light pressure on my palms, and I've got as much space between my hips and my seat and my back tire as possible. If I stayed in this stance the whole time, I'd feel all of that weight go through my legs, which is great, but I would start to get pulled around by my bike. So this is where central comes in. Being centered is having a nice bend in your elbows, still being nice and relaxed in the upper body, nice relaxed hands, but I've still got all that weight going through my bottom bracket. That way, as the bike moves, my head stays nice and still, just like this example. One thing to remember about my central stance is it's always going to change. As the bike moves, I still want to keep my weight through that bottom bracket. And also, if I'm putting on the brakes or there's any other forces going through my bike, center is going to be different. It's going to move around, so it's a very dynamic stance. What we're going to do here is first practice our reset, and then we're going to figure out how to move on our bike so that we are keeping that weight through the middle of the bike, and then we're going to figure out what our centered stance is. So a little bit of trail etiquette. Whenever I stop, I always pull off so that there's plenty of space for other riders to go past. And sure, they might need to slow down, but I'd have as little impact on their ride as possible. Especially if I'm more than one person, it's really easy to clog up a trail. So stop in places where there's plenty of space for everyone to get right out of the way. Now, if I'm sessioning a trail and I need to walk back up, or if I stopped at something and I just have a look and I want to walk back up to get my trail speed back, I'll walk up off the side of the track, and if I do need to cross, I'll actually cross the trail and get off it as quickly as possible. And that way, if someone comes around a corner, I'm not just walking up the middle of the trail. If there's more than one of us, give each other at least a couple of bike length space so that everyone's got a spot that they can get out of the way in a hurry and call rider nice and loud. That means they know that we've seen them, and they're way more likely to see us, and you can avoid some pretty nasty accidents. So coming out of trails, like this one here, you want to make sure that you're well out of the way. Whether you're the first person or the last person in your group, you want anybody who might have dropped in behind you, could be a random member of the public, to be able to come through and not clog up any entrances or exits of trails. I'd recommend taking just a few minutes before each ride to just double check that your bike's running well. Make sure that you know where you are on your bike, so you do a little bike body separation drill, and just think about where you look. If you're on a trail that's super hard, the easiest thing to do is look for where you want to go and you'll have a great time. So this isn't it. There's a couple more videos to keep an eye out for. So I'm going to have some drills for you to practice while you're away from the trails, and also a little video on how to link features as well.